Every time I see Haliburton play.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, we had to redo it. What up, though? We are here now. We are live. Woodward Pistons, Woodward Sports in the building. Shout out to the Lions. Shout out to Les Stanford and everything. We're in Studio B. Wanted to go live to be able to talk about NBA Finals and what's the strategy for the Pistons. You look at what the Pacers are doing right now, and they're a squad that I thought, you know what? The Pistons are just a hair away from them. They went and they made some shrewd moves over the last few years to be able to bolster some things around Tyrese Haliburton. And you see I was paying dividends. So we got to start there naturally. He took over the NBA world, hitting the big shot just before the buzzer. 0.3 seconds left on the clock to go. Tyrese Haliburton continues to prove to be somebody that you cannot take lightly, especially at the end of games.
No, and that is a shot a lot of guys in the NBA don't want to take. And when you look at the NBA playoffs in general, you got three closers who really did well. Haliburton, SGA.
Jalen Brunson did.
Yeah, and Brunson. Yeah. They're closers, man. They're cold-blooded killers. So that's what the Pistons need. Who's going to be that killer? The dude that wants to take that shot with 1 second left, knows he's going to make it, and is not afraid of anything. Got to have that dog in you, too.
You know what, man? That's what shout out to Travis, man, our social media lead, social media manager over here, and he was saying that too. He thinks that Tyrese Haliburton actually has more dogs right now than Cade Cunningham, and I think that it goes. I almost crashed out on the show. I love Travis, but I almost crashed out on that. I believe that Cade Cunningham is in a less than situation. You look at Tyrese Haliburton, got an all-star on his team in Pascal Siakam. You look at Miles Turner. If he came here right now, he would challenge to be the best big on the team. No matter how much people love Jalen Duren, and I love Jalen Duren, we see the impact that he's having. Now, Jalen Duren, from a rebounding standpoint, definitely you want him over Miles Turner. But when you look at what is around him, from the three-point shooting to the role players to the players that are contributing, Tyrese, all he has to realistically do is find a hot hand, because he's not getting defended the same way that Cade is. He's not getting the same types of hedges and looks, the same types of bumps and such. I do give him credit for being a ball handler, that doesn't turn it over much and gives his team as many opportunities as possible. But I feel like the job for him right now is tailor-made, and I'm not going to be mad at the Pacers for that, except for the fact that I hate them. They built well around
the last 10 or 15 seconds of the game. Haliburton is getting doubled. Siakam is not helping unless he's throwing a pick, but he is taking that shot and making that shot, and is a man doing it. So that's what I look at.
Man, what about you, Summer? What about you? Yeah, it's a lot of discourse right now, because obviously a lot of people here, you think about it, I'm seeing way too many times now, all across social media, including our own, shout out Woodward Sports. Oh, can you believe the Pistons pick Killian Hayes over Tyrese Haliburton, especially with how hot his name is right now?
Yeah, well, can I just start by saying, why were people even saying that Tyrese is overrated? Like, that is how what I've been seeing, the way he plays, he's not overrated. Like, and I'm glad that he's like proving people wrong, because a lot of people came into this series thinking like, OKC is gonna just sweep them.
Yeah.
And Tyrese, he didn't even have the best. He had 14 points yesterday, but he had the biggest shot. So
that's the conundrum.
That kind of. Yeah, and I did hear Travis say that about Cade. I was watching her earlier, and I was like, "Wait a minute, Travis, hold on."
And I feel you, man. It's a tough spot, because he is exactly the type of player that if he was here in Detroit, we would be caping for him.
Yeah,
and I got to be full with that. And you look at what he's doing to be available and be gritty and be available down the stretch for his team. That's what we needed. You look at the Pistons, where they failed their series in the Knicks, it was down the stretch, and not having a player that we knew they're going to go out there and get that dub, and we wanted it to be Cade. But when you look at what this means for him in the evolution of Cade Cunningham, the one thing that I know about these point guards who we talk about is Cade better than Brunson, is Cade better than Tyrese. The places that I know that they are better than Cade is taking care of that ball, giving their team that many more extra possessions rather than the ones you throw away. And so I do know this, Cade Cunningham, to be able to put a lot of the doubters, and a lot of the discourse right now why Tyrese Haliburton is hot. The only way he's going to do that, I think it starts and ends with who he is at the end of games in those clutch moments, and who he is as it relates to taking care of the ball. And they've largely kind of come at the same exact time. We see those turnovers, 2 or 3 turnovers in the last 5 minutes in the game, and it winds up becoming super crucial, because we saw them lose how many games by a possession to the Knicks? a possession or two, or it was a couple of those games. And one of them came down to, they left it in the ref's hands, a missed call on Tim Hardaway, who was shooting the three. So, that to me is where, when I'm looking at this thing, I already believe Cade is better than Tyrese, but what can he do to change the narrative in the minds of everybody else? He's going to have to win. What put him on the map this year, it had less to do about his talent, in my opinion, and more to do about how his talent and the Pistons winning put them on everybody else's radar. And we all heard that. We've seen the stats for years. He was putting up stats. Only Michael Jordan did his rookie season. Didn't get Rookie of the Year. The next season we could see some flashes. The season after that, he took a step. But this year, when you mix it in with the winning and with how the team played off of him, shout out to the organization for finally getting some decent players. You saw what happened with Cade, man.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And I think Indiana Pacers, they have a lot of good role players too. That's a big thing for them too. Pistons, we do have good role players too, but Miles Turner, like, the role players for me. That's what does it for me.
But you bringing up a good point though. Like, do the Pistons have to take note from what the Pacers are doing right now?
I think so.
Sheesh. T-Foss, what you thinking, man? You look at how this team is built right now,
Right.
and you look at how well they put this together around. Like, they did the trade of Sabonis for Haliburton, and then they went in there, like everyone for years has been saying, get Cade that star, get Cade that star, get Cade that star. We saw the Pacers go out there and get Siakam. We see what the Raptors are doing, getting Brandon Ingram, and they're not done trying to hunt for more high-level players or stars.
The one thing we're forgetting is not only could the Pistons have Haliburton, they could have had the coach too.
Oh, Rick Carlisle?
Right, Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle was the coach of the Pistons, and supposedly he got run out here because he wouldn't say hi to the owner on the elevator. And so they got Larry Brown, a guy that's trying to get out before he even gets in. But every time I see Haliburton play, I think of Piston fans who jumped up and down and begged this organization to take him in the draft. Please take. They begged the Pistons, and they didn't. Who's the better player?
I remember
Tyrese Haliburton or Killian Hayes.
I do remember the discourse that Tyrese didn't want to get picked by the Pistons, and he was actually angling to go to Sacramento.
You know who else didn't want to get picked here?
Talk to me.
Isaiah Thomas.
So
you did not want to come here.
All right. That's a good point there, because we see how that worked out. And look at the way he's looking at me. So you're telling me that the Pistons should have said, "Yeah, we really don't give a frick what you want."
Right.
You're an NBA draft.
You know who else
prospect.
didn't want to come here? Amon-Ra St. Brown. Bunch of dudes.
All right, the legend cooking right now. Yeah. And you see how much they love it here now too. You know what? You're right. But I see this. What do you say to the people who say things like, "But if you would have taken Tyrese Haliburton, we probably don't get Cade the next year."
Well, that's true. But you would have had a better team. You messed up on Tyrese Haliburton and Devin Booker. Oh. So this is a two-pronged thing.
You're exactly right. Gosh, they fumbled a lot, bro.
Think about it.
They fumbled a lot. We see him right now wondering if you're going to be able to keep all of the young players they have accrued now. I feel like these draft picks over the last 4 or 5 years have been better. Let me make sure I think. Have been better than all of them in the last 10 or 15 years, except maybe Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond's probably the only one that you could probably say maybe right now you put him a little bit ahead of Jalen Duren, but he's obviously not better than Cade Cunningham. It's been bleak, bro. It's been bleak as it relates to depending on young players. Now they got a dilemma as it relates to what do they do with these young players. Are they paying Jaden Ivey? Are they playing Jalen Duren? Because, their first year of extension eligibility starts this offseason.
Right. So maybe you have to make a decision between Duren and Ivy. And this NBA, I know we love our big men. The NBA, those guards league. When you look at who's dominating, it used to be the small forwards, it used to be the centers. Now it's the guards, the dudes with the ball in their hand, the dudes that have the green light to shoot.
Sheesh, man. Sheesh. Because I'm sitting here looking at what the Pacers got going on, and that's why I brought that aspect of it. Because the Pistons, when you look at the East, what I see is something that's wide open. I see a bunch of teams with dysfunction. The Celtics, what are they doing next year? You know what I'm saying? Do we know what the Raptors are going to exactly do? Do we know what the Sixers are going to do? So you're looking at some teams at the top, even the Knicks, who just decided let's throw ourselves into the all dysfunction team, by firing Tibbs. They made all of that investment. We talked about it, I think, on our platform. We talked about it on Woo. All of that investment into trying to get this far in the playoffs, and then you fail to a Knicks team a Pacers team who I thought they were going to clean the floor with them. I'll just be honest with you. And so now when I'm looking ahead at how open the East could actually be for the Pistons, who are one of your least dysfunctional teams, that to me is what gets me thinking, do they need to go out there and push the button to make something happen more aggressively? For the first time in I don't know how many years, the Detroit Pistons are able to trade their first round picks.
Youngblood, stop being so conservative. Do they need to go out there and make a splash? Hell yes. You know what? This time.
So you're not with the running back crew because there's a lot of running back people out there.
You know what? We fall into the trap that Detroit is a small market team. We fall into the trap that we got to take things the right way. We fall into the trap. Well, we got to wait our turn. We got to do all that. That's baloney.
Talk to me, T.
When the East is imploding,
it's imploding right now.
Boston was supposed to be the best team in the East, right? But then we found out they're kind of chokers. They're a little bit soft. The one team I didn't want the Pistons to play were the Pacers. And I said that a few weeks ago. I didn't think they'd be in the NBA Finals. That's the one team I didn't think the Pistons matched up well with. But if you see a guy, if you see three teams if you see three teams in the NBA where they got stone cold killers who are not afraid to take that shot in the last 10 seconds of the game, then you've got to combat that. So yeah, you got to make a splash. And yeah, you may have to do something on paper that might seem a little bit stupid right now. But yeah, you can't sit back. I don't believe that the Pistons are just going to get that much better that next season, and they're going to beat New York and beat Indiana and beat whoever's there.
You think, like when Brad Holmes said, hey, no more Q seasons, we're in this thing for big-time expectations, you believe with the demise of the East and with what we saw to the Pistons to be able to get to 44 wins, 30 wins over last season, you believe that the time is right now. It's prime for them to go and start.
Right now. That's why I was slightly upset with Tom Gores when he says, well, we want to win a playoff series. Forget that. Next year, you want to win an NBA championship. And you probably won't but that's the mindset you need to be in.
And that's where I'm at with the Pacers. I know they've had a few more years to be able to work up to this point. But they got there quick, just like we saw the Orlando Magic. 1 year, they popped up on the radar. The next year, all dysfunction. It can change in a heartbeat.
They can.
Look at the Orlando Magic right now. What are they saying? Are they believing that they're better than the Pistons because they weren't this season? And if they don't do something, like I thought they could have done some things this offseason, if they don't, they are going to get firmly passed up. And that's where when I'm looking at the Pistons, it's like, you know what? If the Pistons don't go out there and do something significant to help with this usage aspect of Cade, 33% usage. That can't be. Tyrese Haliburton is like 21 to 24% usage rate. You got to bring that down for Cade. You don't do that by just getting good role players. You do that by going out there and getting players that can actually handle the rock at an efficient level during the same times that he's on the court.
Right.
Whether it's a wing player, whether it's a stretch four who you think you could put the ball in his hands. Like if they did find a way to get a Lauri Markkanen, that's a person that you could throw him the ball on the wing, short corner, and he can go to work while Cade just watches and waits for a spot up three. And so it's like, yeah, from that standpoint, I don't know how the Pistons take the necessary step forward unless they get extreme growth internally. That means you're talking about Jaden Ivey taking the next step, whereas in reality, he's still doing some aspects of rehab and working to get back from injury. Is he going to take that next step? I do believe that Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson are your two young players, best position to take that step towards stardom. But are they going to take that step towards stardom? And even then, I just don't know if that's enough for the Pistons to firmly say, you know what, we're one of those top dogs. When I look at the pedigree of the Pacers is when I do say, you know what, it would be nice to see the Pistons get more aggressive and be a part of the zany part of the offseason. Like Sham said, he expects this offseason to be crazy. Sham says he expects this thing to be, trades galore. And when you look at the Pistons getting their war chest back now they can trade up to I think 4 first-round picks. That is huge for the Detroit Pistons if you're talking about going out there and making a splash. Some people say, are young players enough? Well, we're going to have to gut this and gut that. I think that those first round picks can definitely entice some people. And then when you talk about if they're going to go that route, then naturally you're probably relinquishing your cap holds on all of your vets that are free agents, except maybe Dennis Schroeder.
I'm not willing to go that far.
Ooh.
I still would. I would still look at Hardaway, bringing him back, because I need vets. I need some vets in that run. I need some guys that, if things are going out of hand, to settle stuff down and say, "Hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? We need to get back to what we were before. We need to stop the bleeding and stuff like that." So I like vets in the room, even if vets
Yeah.
are not contributing as much as they need to. But if you make that splash, then you don't have to worry about that. You can bring them all back. Well, except the people you need to get rid of to bring
Yeah.
in your splash.
Hey, somebody I gotta ask you too, man. Where are you at on this? Because some people on the side of oh yeah, turn the little mic to yeah. Some people on the side of effectively make that splash. And I've been volleying back and forth. I'm not along the lines of go out there and make the splash because Cade Cunningham, I believe, is that real deal. You can trust putting a star player next to him. Some people are the inkling that we can just make some minor tweaks, find a 4 on a deal on a discount. I've heard people say things like Bobby Portis. I've heard things like people say go after Miles Turner. I don't know necessarily how well he and a Jalen Duren pair together, but I do know he can stretch the floor. But where are you at with this thing? Are you looking for them to go out there and finally make that splash, or are you looking forward to the Pistons going out there and kind of largely running it back with minor tweaks?
Yeah, and for me, it's so hard because I really want to see this team where we're at now go far. Because I'm just thinking about like what we did this year. I mean, this group, I feel like if they made that call on Tim Hardaway, I really believe that we could have went far. So that's what I think.
That's the caveat right there. You're right. Some people will say, but they just only won 17 and then 14 games. Well, how you guys expect the NBA Finals by next year?
I think this group can still make noise. Minor tweaks, that would be okay, but then I don't know. I feel like that's just so hard.
That is a tough one
It's
because,
really hard.
but that's where I'm looking at Orlando Magic, and I feel like they're staying pat too long. I feel like this is a pivotal offseason for them, where now you got to go out there and make something happen. And when you look at what the Houston Rockets did, Uncle T, when you look at what they did to go out there and get Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, do you think those types of deals are the ones they need to make, or do you push even higher than that?
No, absolutely. Those are the type of deals because I thought Houston and the Pistons were in the same boat.
They were
when they
they even drafted twins,
right? Yeah, they did. But I'm going back to when they drafted Cunningham.
Yeah,
they were in the same boat at that
Jalen
time,
Green.
and so now Houston is like, we want to be a bigger player, and they're doing it in maybe a tougher conference in the West. So I just think we're in this mentality in this city. Let's be patient. Let's be cute. Let's wait our turn. Forget that. Now, don't they have the T-shirts? Detroit versus everybody.
Yeah.
I saw that.
I gotta ask, who do you want to see come to Detroit? I gotta know.
I'm a KD guy.
I was gonna say, you know what? He's available. He has said some nice things about Cade Cunningham through the years. And it's like, how expensive is it going to be really to get a KD?
That's what we need to find out.
Yeah.
But if you're going to gut your team, then don't do it. You may have to give a couple key pieces, but if they want the world, and because I was on a show and they said, well, I gut the team to bring in KD. Well, if you're gutting a team, you're not going to win. Okay, who you bring in? Because KD's been on teams that were gutted and they didn't win.
You would have to. It's so many.
I'm sitting here thinking right now. What up, though?
I think it's definitely going to be a clear out for sure if you get KD. But I like that because he has been speaking highly of Cade. Like, I think that would be a good pair. But like the whole team, you would have to give up so much of our core.
I'm thinking if somebody wants KD, you're looking at what, 2 or 3 first-round draft picks and at least one high-level core player.
But
at least one. It might take 2.
Yeah, but I would love to see him come to Detroit. I would like to see that, but
Jeez.
that's another hard one. That's another hard one.
That's a tough one, man. I'm wondering what the people are gonna say when this flips from live to a video and they're able to watch it at later times. I'm waiting to see what the comments are gonna say about what the Pistons strategy needs to be this offseason, because I do believe this is gonna be your most pivotal offseason for the Detroit Pistons, going all the way back to when they spent the money wrongly on Ben Gordon and Charlie Villanueva. I think that this is going to be franchise defining offseason for the Detroit Pistons and their road ahead. And that's where, T Falls, Uncle T, you got to be fired up right now. I am now. It's like, you know what? Go out there and just because everyone's looking at what the free agent class is or isn't, when we've seen how many disgruntled stars now pop up on these guys might be traded list. They even talking about if you want to get you a budget star, like a not budget as it relates to how much he gets paid, but budget as it relates to he's no longer what they thought he was.
Right.
But even Bradley Beal is saying it's going to be somebody they're trying to trade. If they can convince him, it's got to be a team that he's willing to drop his no trade clause for. But they even talking about he about to be on the move.
Well, I think the Pistons are now a team where people would drop their trade clauses. I'd bring in Beal. I'd be in favor of that.
Sheesh, I'm gonna get that over to our social team as well. He get paid though. He gets paid.
Hey, if you're gonna bring in somebody, if we're talking splash, they all gonna get paid. Nobody's gonna come in for $2 million a year. To let you know.
Dog, man. See, T-Foss always do. He know when I'm a little bit scared. Dog, he's trying to push me to one side because I'm like,
you are scared.
A little bit, man. Because, bro, last time we were at this point, it was Ben Gordon and Charlie V, bro. And we know this. If they spend that money wrong at all, that's a cap on what this thing can be. That's a cap on Cade Cunningham, who's just starting that big contract, which he got a $45 million bump added to that contract by making All-NBA team. This is it. And I'm glad that he said out loud, like, yo, I want to be here. I'm so glad that he said that. But what happens for that next contract if they get this offseason wrong?
Let's go back to Charlie V and Ben Gordon. I know that scares you, but the circumstances now are different.
Petey Mac says he doesn't know about Bradley Beal, man.
Bradley Beal is controversial. Bradley Beal could be a clown if he comes here, but he may not be. We don't know. But you're going back to Charlie V, and they did that for the wrong reasons. One, they knew there was going to be a lucrative free agent class the year after. Pistons didn't think they could get anybody. Nobody wanted to come here, so they just settled for Charlie V and Ben Gordon. This team here, if they bring somebody in, it's with the goal of winning a championship or putting yourself in position to win a championship. That team right back then was just trying to move forward.
After the closing window of the going to work Pistons, I actually get that one. That one is a good distinction, and we're talking about a guy in Trajan Langdon, and this team who have proven to have a handle on not just free agency, because who would have thought Tim Hardaway was going to come here and do what he did? Who thought we had an opportunity to go and get Malik Beasley at the price that we did?
Right.
And who thought that we were going to be able to finagle Dennis Schroeder at the trade deadline the way they did? And when you look at how much credit he gave Mike Blackistone in the front office for understanding the cap, second apron, and all this, and them even understanding what exceptions they're going to get based off of all the moves they made. They knew our money has to be at this. And if we're at this by the end of the season, we get a non-taxpayers exemption. Now, all of a sudden, they got an extra $14.1 million that they can use if that's something that entices a guy like a Beasley.
Trajan Langdon, I have faith in him. He's going to make a stupid move where you're going to say, not stupid as in stupid, but stupid as in stupid. Like, damn, he pulled that off? Because the NBA is in flux
what you teasing right now? Talk to me, bro.
He going to bring somebody in that you're going to say, what?
I keep feeling that inkling. I keep feeling like they got everything they need to go into this offseason, bro, and be the number one news story.
Okay, because I don't recognize the NBA right now. One, you can't win at home in the playoffs, and that's been a layup for years. Indiana and OKC are in the NBA Finals. Coach takes his team where it hasn't been in 30 years, and he gets fired. Then the guy who had big games here and killed the Pistons, Jalen Brunson, was criticized for his play later on. And Karl Anthony Towns, for as great as he is, might get traded.
Memphis fired their coach, and then
Right.
Denver fired their coaches as
Right.
they were heading into the playoffs.
Right. So I don't know
crazy,
what's going
dog.
on with the NBA, man. Don't ask me about this league because it's in flux.
But that's what I mean when you talk about all dysfunction team. I used to just look at the teams that the Pistons would be competing for positioning in the standings. When you kind of take another step back and you look at the league and you see what the Pacers are doing as well, I'm like, you know what? They got to strike while the iron's hot. There's a lot of dysfunction throughout this league. And what do we know about the NBA? They love their stories. How quickly was Cade Cunningham on that all-star stage? And then we instantly saw all the content they were putting out about Cade Cunningham was taken off nationally. For Cade to go and get over 110,000 more all-star votes than Blake Griffin was telling to me. Because that was before Cade was proven. We knew who Blake was, and Blake came here and put this team on his back. And then in the playoffs on his one leg. Shout out to Mattress Leg. Blake, forever a legend here. But with Cade Cunningham to do that as a guy coming off of 14 and 17 wins and season-ending surgery and all of that, that to me was that was big time, man. Absolutely big time for Cade. So when you're talking about one of those stories of the league, I was down there All-Star Weekend, got to cover it in the flesh. His media scrums were bigger than a lot of the other people's. I'll tell you this. Cade Cunningham's media scrum was bigger than Jalen Brown's.
You know why? He had something to say.
He was talking nasty now. He was like,
you know what? When you talk nasty, writers go, I think I'm gonna sit in on that's what happened there.
He was talking. Cade was feeling himself down.
Yeah, he wasn't like, I want to be a fine ball player. I want to be the face of the league.
They asked him that. I was sitting right there. They were like, who's the face of the league? Who's who you think of the future faces of the league around here? He was like, I thought he was gonna be humble, right? He was like, can I say me? I can't say me. Can I say me? It's like, you can say you, me. I was like, hey, dog. It was just like that. And it was like, can you expand? He was like, yeah, I think I could be a future face of the league. I mean, there's talent out there, but and you can tell, like, I just wanted him to say it. You can see it on his face, but you can see him just saying, like, I'm Cade Cunningham.
Right. So he's got confidence in himself. Now, we have to convince people in Detroit, and that's you, to have faith in him.
That's the wild part, because with the rise of Tyrese Haliburton, man, I'm seeing a lot of people right now who are saying that he's a better point guard or a better player. Y'all got to stop this noise of trying to elevate Cade above people. Look, man, I really think Cade is it. That's again, it's going to continue to be the theme of this one. That's why you got to go and make sure you get somebody, make a splash to put on. I'm there now. I see Derek Barnes in the chat. Shout out to Derek Barnes, one of our OGs. He says Bradley Beal can't stay healthy. And I know when you said Bradley Beal, it was just kind of off the cuff because we believe that the Pistons need to make a splash, and we're trying to figure out with Bradley Beal, another one of those names is added to that list. Is he a guy that the Pistons go after, especially if he drops that no trade clause? And I think the best thing out of that conversation was you letting people know this is a place now that people will drop the no trade clauses for. I hear people talking about the city a little bit differently now. Being at these games, I remember how people used to talk about the Palace of Auburn Hills and where it was at. Arena, great arena. But they would liken the area to like freaking Sacramento almost. Nothing to do, is this, that, and the other, and the parking lot was packed. You look at what's happening in LCA in the downtown, not just the Detroit Pistons, but all of our teams going through a renaissance in addition to what the downtown is going through.
Right. And players around the league even talk about Mason. They're talking about Mason now. So they got the eye out on Detroit if they're talking about the announcer.
Goodness gracious, they got to strike, man. They got to strike. And
hey, something's gonna happen. I'm telling you, this league is all messed up and in shambles right now. This is gonna slide under the radar and bring in somebody we're not thinking about right now.
Sheesh, man. You know what? Summer, you got any last words before we shut this thing down? Because Big D Energy is going to be starting up soon.
Well, we already know the Pistons is capable of going even further than this year. So I got us for next season. I already believe in Trajan. I already know what he's gonna do his big one. But I honestly gotta say, I agree with what Derek said about I like Bradley Beal, but that is gonna be the biggest thing is can he stay healthy? But I liked him on the Wizards, and then I think when he came to Phoenix, I think he kind of like just fell off, but it probably was the injury. So, but if he can stay healthy, I wouldn't mind seeing him in Detroit.
It would be interesting because it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I saw the news that the Pelicans might try and run things back with Zion and build around him. to me, what that says is he absolutely nerfed his trade value with the news that came out. That scandal. Like first it was he's tasked with trading him, and now the news is, hey, we talked to him. We think we might keep him. What do you think?
Speaking
I
of
think-
not staying healthy,
Steve?
he's got to be the poster child. But Zion, even though his measurables come back that he's in shape and stuff, he's not. He's not in shape.
Get him out of New Orleans.
I
Don't
think
bring him to
his
Detroit.
hoofs are like, damn, we can't take this anymore.
Hey,
So this is going to be a guy that's going to have foot problems the rest of his career.
sheesh, and let me see who else. People do not want. They don't want Bradley Beal, man. Shout out to Dre Skills 2K.
I'm telling you, if he was healthy, I doubt people would be saying it.
So you telling me if we got Arnie Kander back here at the Detroit Pistons, shout out to the legendary trainer, that Bradley Beal will be okay.
Hey, Arnie Kander might be able to do it. No, he'll get some of that voodoo juice.
Get
that
the
he
green
gets.
juice, yeah.
Yeah, I know where he gets it too. It's a place in Lake Orion. He gets that green voodoo juice.
I remember
Arnie
Rip
Kander.
Hamilton talking about that too, man.
Yeah, Arnie Kander and Bradley Beal, a great combination. I don't know why they got rid of him.
You know what? I don't. That was a weird one to me, man. Arnie Kander and the other one. I forget the other trainer they had here, but that was
Mike
definitely
Abdenauer.
Mike Abdenauer.
Got rid of him.
Yep, those two losses were like, dang. It was dope to see them bring back the Dancing Usher for the playoffs, though. Shout out to Shannon Sales.
Yeah,
That fan of the Dancing Usher.
Oh yeah, I love him.
All right,
That was my favorite part of Piston games.
for
That's
a
the
long
only thing to
time.
see.
Oh, man, T. Hey, Jeff Ayafredi. Shout out to the brother. There is literally no aspects of what we're Pistons without Mr. Jeff Ayafredi, too, man. We built this thing. Shout out to Rod Beard as well, who helped build this. But shout out to Jeff, my brother. I love you, man. Continue to crush it. One of the most talented people I know in the media game. One of the most, in my opinion, one of the best voices as it relates to Detroit Pistons, too. So shout out to Jeff
I
Ayafredi.
got
You
no
see
rap for
Juicy
Jeff.
over there?
Yeah,
Shout
I got no
out.
rap for Juicy. Every time I invite Juicy out, he's oh, I gotta do something. And he would say, I gotta do something with the kids. Before he had kids, he came up with all kinds of excuses. So I'm done with it.
Hey, Juicy just asked a question. I liken them to this team as well. And real quick, let me put this up. Hey, Stephen Fenwick, he says, I love you, Jeff, man. Shout out, man. Shout out. But he says, ask Uncle T Foss, and I actually agree with the sentiment. If this Pacers run reminds you of shades of the 04 Pistons run.
No.
Ooh, tell me. You got less than a minute and we got shut down. Hurry up. Let's rock.
The 04 Pistons, once they made the trade for Rasheed Wallace, they all of a sudden became a favorite to go to the NBA Finals. They don't have Ben Wallace on there, and yeah, you could say Mr. Big Shot, Chauncey Billups, and Tyrese are the same, but beyond that, no.
Hey, you know what, man? We're gonna talk about it more. Hey, shout out to y'all, you guys. If you're just getting here, we are live. We're gonna be doing some more lives. We definitely are. We'll be getting also with Chris Platty and Anson Wells too. Every single Wednesday at 4:00 to be able to bring you guys some more content. But definitely gonna be getting tapped in more with Terry Foster, with Summer Weathers. I was like, do we go live? Do we do recordings? Let's do the lives, man, so we interact with you guys more. So keep this in every single Friday. You guys already know we're gonna tap in with you guys after the show. So let's rock. And once again, shout out to my guy Jeff Ayafredi, man. Love you, brother, and keep crushing out there. Let us know what you guys think. Detroit Pistons to make a splash, or to kind of stay as is and believe that you're gonna get enough from the internal growth. Got Summer Weathers, T Foss, it's Kool-Aid. Hey, you guys have a good one. Smash that like button.